So that was the cover of the Bach song that I did. In this video, I just wanted to go over almost kind of like a vlog in a way. There's no real strict point to it like my other videos. So I just wanted to show you behind the scenes of what I did to create this song. So one of the first things that I do if I want to do like a classical piece like this is I look for the PDF version of the actual instrument. It helps if you know how to read music. So in this case, I looked for, I believe it's the flute that actually plays it in the original song. And then I worked it out on the guitar, how I wanted it to go, what movements I wanted, because that really does matter. There was two ways for me to play the intro. I could either go straight across the neck like I did, or I could have stayed just in one spot right here on the seventh fret, like that. So if you don't want that much movement, figure out a way that you can just stay in one position. I just, to be honest with you, I just did this the whole arpeggio going across the neck because I just like the way it looked. That's the only reason I did it. I could have just stayed in one spot, but I just wanted the movement of it. When it did go to the second part, when it changes key, it goes to the F sharp. I did stay in one spot for that one. It was right here on the second fret. So I stayed in one spot for that. Again, you just got to figure out ways for you to implement whatever classical song you're doing. It also helps if there's already other artists, either famous or just like YouTube creators that have actually covered that song too. I don't think I looked at any for this song. I don't remember. Maybe I did. And if I did though, I always take little pieces or little ways for me to play it that I can implement here on my version of it. Now going on to the orchestra now, it is MIDI. Okay, I don't have the money to afford a real orchestra to play this for me. What I did again, I looked for the royalty free MIDI. I mean not MIDI, the royalty free score of it. I use Sibelius, type out the notes, but I use something that came free with it. I forgot the name of it. I'll put it up on the screen right now. But I use that and it converts the PDF to like the format that Sibelius uses. So in that case, all I had to do was just make sure there wasn't too many errors, like when it scanned it. And there was a few. There's always a few notes here and there that you got to correct. But other than that, I went to Sibelius after that, and from there I made sure it was all edited perfectly. And from Sibelius, there's this cool feature now that you can easily copy the MIDI notes for each instrument onto the Pro Tools session that you have. You simply just copy and paste like that. And that's exactly what I did with this song. So once I copied and pasted, I had to use you have to use a library. It just doesn't work. There's no, the MIDI's just there by itself. But I had the library of, it was Orchestra Tools. I got some of their free stuff, and I have some of their paid Baroque string stuff that I have on my library. So I added those MIDI players to it. I think it's called the Sine player. And from there, I loaded the violin, I loaded the violas and the cellos, and the harpsichord too. I know there's no harpsichord in the original song, but for this one, I just wanted to add it, so I did. Luckily for that one too, I found a version of it with the harpsichord score that I had to manually copy this one onto Sibelius. So once I have everything imported onto Pro Tools, I have the virtual instruments set up, I'm getting sound out of it. I make sure that I know the song enough, for me to play it through, because I like to do whole takes. I don't like to chop them up. So what I do is I obviously practice for a couple of days the actual song, and then once I'm ready, then I'll start to actually record the song onto the Pro Tools session. And when it comes to recording, I like to do between 4 and 5 takes. If I don't get it within 4 or 5 takes, then I know that I'm just forcing myself by then. I'm losing that confidence, I'm losing that creativity, I'm just stressing myself out. If I don't get it in 4 and 5 takes, I shut it down, I take another couple of days to practice the song and stuff like that. And then once I get that creativity back again, I come back and I do another 4 or 5 takes. Now, the reason I do 4 or 5 takes is because I actually like to comp. So I'll listen to all 4 of them and I'll be like, oh, I like how I did it in this one, boom, put it there. I like how I do it on this track, boom, and I do little pieces like that to make one whole unit. It's just what I like. Very rarely do I actually record the whole thing at once and then be like, that's good. So after that, then I go into the mixing session now. And in the mixing session, I do have my own template, which makes things a lot easier. All I have to do is just simply route them to their buses, keep everything in line. And from there on, it's just, your creativity comes into play of how you want it to sound, how much reverb do you want, how much of this delay or stuff like that if it requires it. Being orchestra music here, I mostly just use reverbs. I use hall reverbs, a little bit of chamber, and that's pretty much it. For the guitar, there is a bit of delay. I think it was an 8th note delay, and there's obviously hall and chamber also on it, and there's a widener in it too. So that is really how I record these tracks. I like the song. I see if it's not too complicated, because believe it or not, I can't play all of them. I don't know if you've seen my other videos, but I do have a Vivaldi one for the Winter Movement. It was a bit of a challenge, but it was a good challenge. Not the kind that's trying to pull your hair out. I'm not sure if I'll do any other ones from that movement, like the summer or the spring as of yet. And if you have the software to do it, it's a lot easier. Because trust me, if I didn't have the Sibelius and the virtual instruments, it would have taken me a lot longer than it actually did. Thankfully, I have those programs. Everything went smoothly, and I was able to just be in my creative flow the whole time. I will see you in the next video, something a little bit more structured, not more of a vlog like this. Unless if you like this type of video, I'll make more of these. But hopefully you enjoyed a little bit behind the scenes, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.